only then do you click, or only then do you not click. But anyways, that's how we can use that as a grid. Next, we're going to look at how we can take that same kind of grid idea, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to have it do printing on a page. So I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to create a hotkey number pad 1. And I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call it print. And I'm going to set its initial value to 1. And then I'm going to have this loop 15 times. So our outer loop is going to be 15. And inside of this loop here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another variable that's going to be used in our inner loop. So I'm going to create a variable called I, and I'm going to set its initial value to 1. And then I'm going to have my inner loop, or my nested loop, run through 30 times. What I want now is I'm going to test some conditions. So only if a certain condition is met, I'm going to do one action, and if it's not met, I'm going to do another action. Okay, so I'm going to say if the value of I is equal to the value of print, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it send an asterisk. If it's not that, we're just going to say else, and we are going to instead send a space. So if it doesn't equal the value of print, which we're going to control in a second, if it doesn't equal that, what we're going to do is we're just going to send the spacebar command. And then inside of this loop, we're also going to now increment the value of our I variable. So if the current value of print is equal to I, we're going to send an asterisk. If it doesn't equal it, we're going to send a space. And then we're going to increment our I variable, and we are going to run through it again until eventually we will get a asterisk. So now we're done with our nested loop, or our inner loop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be outside of it. So let's run through that loop 30 times. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our print variable, and we're going to add 1 to its value. And then this is our y-axis, so all we need to do here is to create a new line. We're going to send enter. So it's going to come in here, and it's going to check to see if our I variable equals print. If it does, it's going to print an asterisk. In other words, if it doesn't, it's going to just hit the space bar. It's going to go through that 30 times. Once it's out, it's going to change the value of print. So initially print is 1, and then each time it runs through these 30 times, print will then equal 2. So when it comes back in, if I equals 2, basically, send an asterisk. And then print is going to be 3. If I equals 3, print that. If not, okay. Also at the end of it, it's going to drop down to the new line. So this is our outer loop is our y-axis. Our inner loop is our x-axis. So if I look at this, this is our x-axis. This is our y-axis. So let me just save this program. I think I have everything that I need. Okay, we have our program running. I'll open up this and I'll hit number pad 1, and there we go. We can expand that, And like I said, we can use any kind of condition. We can set a condition so that way we end up with a different kind of pattern on our screen. So if we're making a graph or something like that, we can create a graph using this kind of logic. So anyways, I think that's enough for that one. Let's go on to our last example. In this one, what we're going to do is, it's mostly the same as the last one, except we're going to get rid of this print variable being set that way, and we're going to get rid of this here, and outside of our hotkey, or right up at the top of our program, we're going to create a variable, and I'm going to call that variable name, and I'm going to set its value to Hellbent. And let me see. Okay, so now instead what I'm going to do is, inside of our outer loop, I'm going to take that print variable, and instead of it being some fixed thing that we're incrementing, what we're going to do instead, we're going to create random numbers. So random, the variable I want, print, the range I want is between 1 and, what do I have here, 30. Let's change that to 50. 50, between 1 and 50. So now if I is equal to print, what we're going to do is we're going to send the value that's stored in the variable name. And then we can have this, what's displayed here, change as we run through our script. So we can create, let's say we can use an array and have another counting variable that's assigned to that, and then as it goes through our program, only in this part here, so let's say if I made another counting variable called j, it's only if this condition is met true would I actually increment the next place within our array. So it would be, like name j, right? So it'll be the first to begin with. We'll have j equals 1. It'll come in here, j equals 1, do that, and then so on and so forth. But I have the syntax wrong here. But anyways, that's how we can have it so that way we don't always have to have the same. So I'm just going to be having Hellbent, but it doesn't have to be always the same. We can change it through using array and cycling through it. So we have, if we press number pad 1, it's going to come into this loop, set the value of I, create a random number for our print variable, and then if I is equal to that, send the contents of name. If not, send a space. Okay, I think that's our program. So I'll play, and then I come over here, I press number pad 1, and it randomly prints out Hellbent within those range. We can also take that, and instead of it printing out that, what we'll do is, if print equals that, what we'll do is we'll print out the value of I, and I is going to be the location on our page. So this first position would be 1. If I press space, it'll be 2, space 3, space 4. So we're going to have it display which space it's printing out our I variable. So if I press number pad 1, it shows me the position on the page. So this is the 12th position, the 24th position, the 43rd, and so on and so forth. And if I keep running the program, it'll give me other random patterns. And once again, I can have multiple conditions set up so that way it can print multiple things on the same line. Now, when we were using this Hellbent thing here, what we would want to do is, let's say if we're working within a fixed amount of space on the page, so when let's say we did print out that name variable, because I know what the value, I know how many characters are in it, what I can do is I can compensate manually here by adding I plus equals 7. So then there's 8 characters. I'm expecting 1 automatically, so I'm just going to add an extra 7 to compensate, so that way my page lines up the way I want it to. And then what I can do is, because I've done that with that, what I can do is I can set it so that way I break out of this loop prematurely if the value of the I variable exceeds 50, which is what I'm expecting it to have. So I can say if I is greater than 50, break, which will then exit out of this outer loop, back up to the top. Yes, back up to the top, where it'll reset the value of I again so it can come back in. So we don't have any problems of going over too many spaces if we change this. If we don't know what the value, how many space characters are in this, we can use a string length. We can run string length on it and then use the string length that we get to be the difference. But anyways, that's it for this one. I think I covered everything. If I missed anything, just let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer them there. And eventually, if I see enough things that I missed out on, by the time I come back around to this tutorial in the Phase 2 tutorial series, I'll be sure to cover it then. But anyways, have a good day. See you on the next one.